good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Hey there, YouTube. So, it should be no doubt by now that Shock is a complete and total moron that's well known for saying stupid shit.
The madness of atheism, however, is that it is faith based on nothing.
You know, you can actually see the birth of atheism within the Bible. Who created it? Satan did.
The only three things atheism has as proof and evidence is Santa Claus, unicorns, and leprechauns.
However, have I got a doozy for you guys this time around?
I wanted to talk to you guys about a theory I have that Santa Claus causes atheism.
Holy shit.
I get these emails from atheists, and they always say the same thing about Santa Claus. So I've investigated it, I've studied this, and I have come to the conclusion that Santa Claus causes atheism. Let me explain. I believe that an atheist is someone that believed in Santa, and then they found out there is no Santa. And so their world is crushed, and they're very upset about that. Now they're like, well, oh my gosh, well maybe God's like Santa. And they're like so mad that because maybe they, you know, really loved Santa, and now to have the rug pulled out from them like that, they're just crushed by it. Now I bring this up because if you ever notice when you talk to atheists, God bless their sweet little hearts, they always say, well yeah, what about Santa? And they're all sad. What happens is an atheist might be someone that has never outgrown that disappointment when they find out the harsh reality of Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy. Look, I was upset too, atheist.
That is one big pile of shit.
Now, I've heard of some stupid shit claimed about atheism and whatnot, but this takes the cake, and apparently this tard believes this nonsense so much so that he has an entire playlist dedicated to videos all claiming the same thing. So the first thing I feel that needs to be pointed out to Shocky and anyone else out there who doesn't quite understand why atheists bring up such things as Santa Claus is to point out why on earth atheists do.
Alright, you primitive screwheads, listen up!
There's one thing that the Christian God has in common with such things as Cthulhu, the Tooth Fairy, unicorns, Thor, Santa Claus, and dragons, and that is that none of these things have been proven to exist as of yet. So if you're going to believe in something like the Christian God, then you might as well believe in these things as well, since they have just as much evidence for them being real as your God. So hopefully this explains to you why atheists bring up such things as Santa Claus. Now, the second thing that I'd like to point out to Shock is that I didn't become an atheist because of Santa Claus. I became an atheist based on the lack of evidence for Christianity after deciding to take a look at my faith. Also, just to let you know, Shocky Boy, I stopped believing in Santa Claus before the age of 10. I became an atheist during my early 20s. So, it seems your little claim completely and totally fails, since it should be very clear that Santa Claus didn't cause my atheism, just like I'm going to go out on a branch and say that it didn't cause the majority of atheists' atheism. Now, the third and last thing that I would like to do is to take on Shock's bullshit claim that he did research to come to the conclusion that Santa Claus causes atheism.
Look at all these reports of Santa syndrome from people. Santa syndrome. Santa syndrome. Here's one from an atheist. And this atheist says, myself being an atheist, I would like to explain what this is. And look what they're talking about, Santa syndrome. And throughout this whole email, look, Santa. This is an actual email I got from an atheist. Look how many times they mention Santa in their email. Santa syndrome, Santa Claus, Santa, Santa, Richard Dawkins, which goes hand in hand with Santa.
Yep, that's how he did his research, by taking note of the number of times atheists mention Santa Claus in emails, videos, etc. And what's even worse is this jackoff even tries to make his bullshit sound scientific by claiming it's some form of a syndrome, or what he likes to call the Santa syndrome.
That's all it is. That's all it really is. We keep trying to find this deep meaning why atheists think the way they do. It's the Santa syndrome.
Now, what this idiot doesn't seem to realize is that this isn't the way someone comes up with a syndrome whatsoever. But if it was, then based on Shock's way of proving that a syndrome exists, then Christians must suffer from something that is called the Jesus syndrome. What evidence? Well, just take note of the number of times they mention Jesus inside of emails, comments, videos, and whatnot. However, Shock is probably never going to accept this, as seeing as he likes to hold to obvious double standards. Anyway, taking note of the number of times someone mentions Santa doesn't count as doing scientific research. It doesn't automatically mean that Santa Claus causes atheism. Now, this is a major reason why I think Shock is a raving lunatic that should never really ever be taken too seriously, since it's very clear that he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about whatsoever. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about what I would consider one of the dumbest claims I've ever heard about atheism. Thanks for watching, and also don't forget that
you will be assimilated.
Resistance is futile.
You know, since Shock claimed Satan invented or created atheism, doesn't that make Santa seem evil since he causes atheism?